So I thought I'd do a little video about why most white people don't speak out against racism. This video was inspired by someone who I respect, who posted a Facebook status the other day. He said, how come all the other white people don't go so hard on the bad racist white people? You know, something comparable to how black people will work hard to debate any of the bad black people who are simply frustrated with white racism and oppression. Why don't white people speak out against their own like we do? So I'm gonna try to answer that to my best ability, mainly because motherfuckers go on the path of least resistance, you feel me? People tend to seek pleasure and avoid pain. That's like law number one. We do things that we're rewarded for, and we avoid things that we're punished for. And in order for white supremacy to survive, people who are for white supremacy are gonna be rewarded. People who are against white supremacy are gonna be punished. So for anyone who speaks in favor of white people, they get rewarded. For anyone who speaks out against white people, they get punished. And it doesn't matter what the race is of the person doing this talking. You know, it could be a white person speaking for or against white people, black person speaking for or against white people. Either way, the way you get treated depends on what your response is and what you're saying. Basic math. Take, for example, a black person who speaks out against black people. You know, this goes way back to slavery, those who lived in the house versus those who lived the field, whatnot. You know, nowadays it's usually black conservatives, quote unquote, they say, who will point the finger at other black folks and say, okay, you're the problem. You know what I'm saying? We're the problem. We're fucking up. That's why we're in the condition we're in. They shift the blame from white supremacy to a supposed black moral or cultural inferiority. And of course, white folks buy this shit. You know what I'm saying? They lap that shit up because it supports some of their ingrained racist beliefs. He helps them sleep at night. He either justifies their racist beliefs that they already had, or he helps them maintain their illusion that racism is over and that, you know, there are no racially based limits to your success in this world. And therefore, any failings you have on your part are based on your own failings. You know, not a system of oppression. He might get called a sellout or an Uncle Tom by other black people, but that doesn't really matter because they don't hold the power. You know, they're not the ones who can actually hold him accountable. It's usually going to be a white person who's signing his paycheck at the end of the day. It's a white person who decides whether he gets promoted or not, whether he even has a job or not, 9 times out of 10. A lot of these dudes even have careers just speaking out against other black folks, you know what I'm saying? Because white people will pull them out. Whenever, you know, something happens, they want to blame on white people, well, pull out the black conservatives. All right, so that's one side of it. Other side is white people who speak for the interest and for the benefit of black folks. And what happens with us? Most white people in this country either feel they have an interest in maintaining white supremacy or at minimum, you know, in not opposing it. Because when white people do take a stand, we get ostracized for it. And if you haven't seen that happen, it's probably just because white folks who speak out in the interest of black people rarely make it on TV. We don't get called in for the interviews. You know, sure, you got some white folks who will proclaim colorblind beliefs. You know, they say we're not racist. On Martin Luther King Day, they all get around and sing Kumbaya, which is great. I'm not knocking that. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to actually challenging white supremacy in a real way or pointing out systemic injustices in this country, suddenly they're not around. Suddenly they don't want to speak about it. They opt out of the conversation. Most white folks, you know, or when they do go hard, they go hard on historical injustices. They go hard on slavery. They go hard on Jim Crow, you know what I'm saying, segregation, but they don't go hard on current systemic injustice. Only time they speak out against what's happening right now is when they're going against extremists. You know what I'm saying? Donald Sterling, they'll throw him under the bus. The KKK, neo-Nazis, skinheads, all that shit, they'll throw them under the bus. But all these people who subconsciously support white supremacy without even realizing it, they're left untouched. They always come to the defense, making excuses for them. And also the media always portrays this whole thing as a black problem as well. You know, not taking into account the fact that the race problem in this country is actually a white problem. Because white people, for the most part, are holding the strings that actually keep the shit perpetuated.
Hello lovelies, welcome back to today's episode. You all know a lot of people are still having this same question. It's been for so long. We keep seeing white people saying, we are sorry for black people, what they are passing through. We are sorry for each and everything you've been passing through. We even agree that racism exists in our community. But why we don't see these people coming out in a public to defend, to protect the black people from any harm? Why whenever black people have any issues, we keep seeing them just looking them as if they don't care? In today's episode, let's dive in. Let's get to hear this white man. He's trying to educate us the way some white people, they would rather be hypocrite to protect their white supremacists, their white privilege, than to coming out to agree that racism exists, though they know it's happening in their communities. Guys, let's dive into today's episode.
And anyone who identifies too closely with blacks, we get written off, you know what I'm saying, laughed at, looked out as clowns. They come up with words. Back in the day, it was, N-word lover. They call us wiggers, all these different words they have to dismiss and shut down basically white folks who get too close to black folks. And it's funny because on one hand, you'll see the white saviorism mentality. They got these movies coming out where it's all like the white people helping out the poor black people, this paternalistic idea we have. But that's a fictionalized version. The actual white folks who really put themselves on the line and died for this shit, you never hear them mentioned. They don't talk about them in Black History Month. They don't talk about it when they're talking about the civil rights movement. They don't talk about John Brown. You know what I'm saying? Hell, I can't even name most of the white activists from the past. And me being who I am, I should know. Most of us don't even know because it's hard. You got to dig deep to find that shit. And I'll tell you why. It's because they don't want us to see that. They don't want us to identify with that. They don't want us to see that as an option for us. If we look at it like black folks stand up for black folks, white folks, all we have to do is just quote unquote not be racist, and just go about living our lives in comfort. Well, this is what happened. Black folks get the impression that we don't care. They get the impression that white folks just don't give a fuck because of what they go through every day and what we continuously fail to acknowledge. Or even if we do acknowledge, we fail to do anything about it or speak out actively against it. And then white folks, because we don't see other white folks standing up for it, we get the impression that it's not our battle. We're not told the story that it's our battle. And the cycle just keeps continuing on and on. Hell, I've even got people close to me, people who I know are not racist in their heart, who preach humanitarian values, all this shit. They've told me this is not my battle. Why are you fighting this? People I know and love. And when otherwise well-meaning white folks tell me that this isn't my fight, I ask you a question. Why the fuck isn't it yours? How about that? Think about that.
I've lost so many friends and family members from speaking out against racism, but it has all been worth it. I've had people I used to spend my Christmases with tell me that I'm a disappointment and the embodiment of everything that's wrong with America. I've had family members post my videos and make fun of me online. My kindergarten teacher told me that I'm a disappointment and then immediately blocked me. She's a Latina woman who has consistently been a Trump supporter. I've had people who I thought were my friends who were also anti-racist and liberal who immediately unfollowed me because I became too controversial. And yet I would do it all again. And the reason why is because I see every single human being is equally important as the next. The life of a homeless person, of a drug addict, of a person of color is equally important to a white person's life. But they see me as a direct attack on their way of life and as trying to take away some of their power in society. They tell me I'm on the wrong side and that all I'm doing is causing trouble. They tell me that they hope something bad happens to me so that I can't even continue my advocacy. But I would encourage white people to do the same because it is hard, but we need people to try to deconstruct the society that we are currently living in. I'm on the side of love and human connection, not power and status.
So I'm going to try to answer this. I have not always been the way that I am. I'm not excited to admit this, and I'm ashamed of it, especially in my early 20s. There's no excuse I can give for why white people feel that they are victims of accurate truths when they are presented. Sure, there's a lot of it that has to do with education, especially in high schools. I went to a super Christian Baptist school, and they didn't teach us anything, like really anything, that happened to people of color in this country. They taught us a lot of inaccuracies, and they really made it sound like Black people were unjustly victimizing themselves. But after I graduated, taking that with me, I don't know how to explain it in a way that makes sense, other than it's really just white entitlement to feel like they're right, because that's what I felt when I was 21, 22. And mind you, I was like left of center as far as my political views went. Like, even those people can still be racist and have ideas with insane racist undertones. I remember when George Floyd was killed and there were riots in the streets. There was one in my city. I didn't get it. And it boiled down to I had no desire to learn about the significance of what was happening and what had happened, or even to learn what had happened to people of color in this country at all. It's white entitlement to be lazy and to feel right. That's what it is. So when they are presented with the facts and the information, they feel like they're being attacked, which isn't valid. But it really is. It's just white entitlement and the white desire to feel right. And also a huge component of it is white people having this after all we've done for you mentality, when all we've done is hurt the Black community systematically. And then it just comes back to not wanting to even know or read what has happened to people of color in this country, because they feel like, and I felt like, I didn't have to. I just felt like as a white person I was right. Like, that's like honestly the truth of it. In my late 20s, my mid 20s, my late 20s, I started to seek information more and more and listen to Black voices and read books and things like that. They have to want to learn it themselves. And the best way I heard someone put it is racism won't end until white people recognize it as a white problem.
The Black community has long suffered under the weight of systemic racism and discrimination. As white people, it is our responsibility to use our privilege to support and uplift the Black community. Here are a few ways that we can be better allies. Listen and learn. We need to listen to Black voices and experiences without interrupting or dismissing them. We should educate ourselves on the history of systemic racism and the ways that it continues to impact the Black community today. We should seek out resources, books, and documentaries that help us understand the issues. Next, speak up. We should use our privilege to speak up against racism and discrimination. We should challenge racist comments and behaviors, even if it's uncomfortable. Silence that which perpetuates racism. We should support Black-owned businesses in our communities. We should advocate for policies that support economic justice and equity. Donate to Black-led organizations. Financially support Black-led organizations that are working to address systemic racism and inequality. It can be done through regular contributions or contributing to certain campaigns and initiatives. We should also use our platforms for good as white people. We have access to platforms and audiences that the Black community may not have. We should use our platforms to amplify Black voices and perspectives, raise awareness about issues affecting the Black community, and promote positive change. Be open to feedback and learning from our mistakes, as we will make mistakes along the way. But it's important to acknowledge them, apologize, and learn from them. We should be open to feedback and willing to change our behavior and perspectives as we continue to learn and grow. Being a better ally to the Black community requires a willingness to listen, learn, and take action. It requires us to use our privilege for good, support Black-owned businesses and communities, and speak up against racism and discrimination. It's up to all of us to work towards a more just and equitable society, and being a better ally is an important step. If you like the content and benefit from it, give me a follow.
People don't think they're racist because white people don't understand racism fundamentally. White people think that to be racist, you have to be out hate criming. You have to explicitly be saying you don't like XYZ minority group. You have to be saying you think white people are better. And this level of binary thinking is extremely comfortable for white people because most white people aren't out hate criming. Most racist people aren't out hate criming or explicitly saying they hate minority groups. It's a little bit more subtle for most racist people. Obviously, there are some people who do say that, but that is the exception, not the rule. This goes for both sides of the aisle. Like during the election, people kept saying, not everyone who voted for him is racist, but all the racist people did vote for him. Completely incorrect. Reverse that. Everyone who voted for him is racist. You cannot vote for that without being racist. However, not all racist people voted for him. And that is harmful to say because that perpetuates this narrative of like, or this trope of, I have a Black friend, I can't be racist. I voted for Kamala Harris, I can't be racist. I vote for the people who support the minorities. I'm obviously not racist and I don't need to do any further work to prove that. Sophia Coppola is obviously conservative and conservative racism is a little bit more explicit, but they don't think it's wrong and they don't think they're racist because they know that racism is a bad word. That's bad. Racism is wrong. So I'm not racist. I don't hate minority groups. I just don't think that inequality is an issue. I just don't think it's wrong. I just don't think microaggressions exist, right? That's not racist. That's just how they frame their world, and that's comfortable for them. And if there's anything white people cannot give up, it's comfort. Do not make white people uncomfortable. Oh my God. Oh my God. And that goes for the left too. I personally have to work every single day to deconstruct systemic racism within myself, within the people around me, within the world that I exist in the context, right? And I have to be constantly thinking about that because racism is so deeply embedded in our society, in our psyches. But a lot of white people on the left don't feel the need to do that because they're doing their part. They're not voting for racism, so they're not racist. If they don't learn about microaggressions, then they don't have to acknowledge that they exist and they don't have to call themselves or their friends out for doing them, right? If they call people out for saying the M-word, if they go, hey, don't say that, that's doing their part. It would be really uncomfortable for them to have to learn about the way that white supremacy exists in our society. And they don't want to be uncomfortable. Don't make them uncomfortable. Don't fight white supremacy. They're going to hate it. And this isn't an excuse at all, but this binary view of racism isn't helpful and it's not productive to think that like everyone who's racist knows it and says like, I hate minorities. It almost views it in the same lens that they view it. Racism is never okay on any level, but it isn't a binary thing. It's not lacking in nuance. Like there is a lot of nuance. There's no justification, but there are different types of racists. There are different understandings of racism, and to not acknowledge that does us all a disservice.
When you try to hear some white people, the way they are trying to explain what they pass through, the time they grew up, It's quite embarrassing how you've been going to school here and there, but this same group, they never wanted you to know anything about Black history. They tried their best level to know that they are superior among others. That's it. They don't want this young generation to know each and everything concerning Black people, Black history, slavery. Imagine in their schools. You have heard they are trying to say they never wanted us to know anything. All these things we are trying to say, it is something we did research on our own, and we managed to know the truth of each and everything. We just grew in our family saying we need to protect our white privilege, we need to protect our white supremacies. There is no way we would rather go there to associate with the others because we are superior, we are great. Everyone should know that no one would come on our way because we can do whatever we want. Now you see, no wonder we keep saying, why? Some white people, they say racism exists, but I scared to talk about it because when I say about it, I'm going to lose a lot of opportunities. No wonder whenever you see these white people, these few people starting to coming out on internet saying, see, I'm tired of what my people are doing to Black people. I'm tired of what they taught us. I'm tired of each and everything. I'm tired of each and everything concerning these people because the way they taught us about others, it is something bad. They taught us to be harmful to them. They taught us not to help them, rather to harm them in a way possible. This is something really bad. This is something we are really regret. Now you see? And when some people will come out to say, do you think racism exists? They will say, no. Racism doesn't exist. The Black people, they always there crying. They always there on internet looking sympathy. They always make excuse about slavery. Do you think it's the only race which passed through slavery? We have a lot less across the world who've been in slavery. They don't make noise, but always it's this Black Americans. Black Americans, we need sympathy. We pass through a lot. We need the reparations. Do they think we care? We don't care. You have heard they don't even care to know about Black history. They don't care. For them, they know that they are racist. That's it. There is no anything they want to know about Black history. No wonder you have seen during Juneteenth, some white people came out to destroy that party because they feel that envy. How come Black Americans, they have holidays which is written there? They don't even want to know why they gave these people this holiday. Why these people, they have courage to celebrate this holiday. Why we don't have white holidays? Imagine. Holidays for what? What the white people even pass through? Why are you like this? Some people, they are trying to mock that Black people, they have some historical date holidays. I don't understand. And yet you are here saying, sorry, I'm not a racist because I have Black friends. I have a great friend who is a Black lady. I can't be racist. But in you, you know very well, you can't defend Black people. Whenever you see them, they are harming them. You can't have that courage to defend them. Because for you, what you see what you will profit. You can't even say, I would rather to lose everything than to see people harming other people. Why would these people keep harming these people? Now, this time around, whenever you see some people, they're coming out in a public being hypocrite. Oh, sorry, what they are doing is not good. What they are doing is not good. No wonder you see this administration came back in office. Some people pretend to say, we can't bring these people in office back. We can't do such a mistake. But in their heart, they knew that this is the one we are going to defend. This is the one we want to come back in office because we want it to bring back our white supremacists. We want to protect it. We can't lose anything. If it's possible, we want to make America white again. But when you meet these people in a public, they will smile for you. At your workplace, they say, hi, how are you? How is everything? How is baby? And they know they never like you and they will never like you. Imagine. you have heard these white people we are starting to see coming out on internet to expose their community, to say enough is enough. What you are doing, we are tired of each and everything. It's like they are risking their life, because they said that whenever we talk about our people, the way they've been doing bad things to black people, they've been doing all sort of racism, we got banished. Some of us, we lose our jobs. They fire us for no reason. They banish us from our community. A lot of people, they will stop talking to us. Now you see, how come you would feel bad when someone have different beliefs for you? If someone have managed to do a research, you know that what you thought them was a total lie, was a scam about the other race, and they are coming out to explain each and everything. Instead for you to understand, you are upset, you are mad. You are telling them, get out of my family. I don't want to see you again, because you are trying to defend black people. No wonder you see these white people, they are saying they are threatening us because we are talking about black history. They are threatening us because we are defending you. Now you see, this is the result. No wonder we keep saying these things of racism. It will take so long for everyone to understand the pains black people are still passing through. Because we are not seeing enough community coming out to rise up to stop all these sort of things. If some people are still saying we are scaring to talk about it, we feel for your pain, we feel what you pass through, we feel each and everything happened to you, but we are scaring to lose everything. We are scaring for our family to throw us away. Some people would even come out to say, but they are afraid. This we are seeing, they are brave. Now you see. And we are saying, see, we need unity. Some people will come and say, we need unity. Why black people, they are so quiet? Why black people, they don't want to associate with us? Why would you choose to be hypocrite? Why would you choose to come in out to show a smile when you know it's a fake smile? If you don't like someone, let's keep it clear. Say that I'm still working on myself to fix some things, because I've been passing through a lot, having this misinformation from my ancestors, from my parents, from my siblings. But this time around, I started to know myself, but that they've been lied to me. And you give that people a distance to work on you than to keep being hypocrite, to being like, oh, you see, sorry, I've heard your history about slavery. I've heard if what your ancestors passed through. Sorry. But when you pass at the black teenager being beaten up, you will never say anything. You will never even stand up to say, what are you doing? You will never stop your people to harass some people online. You can't do something like that. Now you see what we are fighting with till date. You see the reason why racism is still expensive in America. Guys, let me know what you think about this video, because I don't know how these things are going to end, but we always hoping the best. As the times goes by, we hope to see this new generation starting to know themselves, to do more research, to know that they've been fooled. Guys, thank you for watching. See you in my next episode.